All right, free societies like America don't work if the people don't trust the elections. And over the last few years, there have been a lot of questions raised about ours.
But there is a bipartisan couple of former elected officials touring the state to reassure voters that our elections are very secure, as you'll see in tonight's Buckley Report.
Despite controversial elections in American history, none saw the kind of accusations of a stolen election and the violence we saw in 2021, which led to former Republican Bob Orr.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Democrat Jennifer Roberts.
Absolutely.
To look at elections in their home state of North Carolina. Do you believe North Carolina's elections are trustworthy?
Yes, absolutely. I think we have an extraordinary system. We have very talented people running the system at the state level.
And they try to put that on display in a series of town hall meetings that they're doing across the state, like this one in Greensboro.
Everybody wants to know, can someone hack into a voting machine?
This is a great question.
That have experts there to answer any and all questions.
The more election directors I hear talk about all their procedures and training and redundancies and double checking and audits they do, the more I trust what they're doing.
Elections have become nationalized from a news standpoint. And so problems in Arizona or Wisconsin or Michigan are perceived to be the case in North Carolina.
And our politicians have changed too. In 1960, Richard Nixon had credible evidence that the presidential election may have been stolen by people backing John F. Kennedy, but he chose to concede rather than put the country through that litigation.
I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states.
But problems like the ones President Trump and his supporters complained about, says Jennifer Roberts, are really just a matter of not knowing how the system works.
The red shift, like when you get precinct reporting and you have Democrats winning early and then it shifts to Republicans winning, people are like, whoa, how come that happened? And when they realize that there are precincts all around the county, they're actually driving a flash drive that has encrypted information down to the center of the county, and then they're getting it, and some places are a farther drive. When you start to understand the intricacies of the system and how it actually works, things make sense.
But it appears to be very stressful for county election directors like Guilford County's Charlie Callicutt.
We have deadlines that voters have to hit,
which has led to significant turnover in that position in the 100 counties of North Carolina.
Yeah, I think 50 to 60 in this election cycle will have never operated a system during a presidential election. We talked to the Jackson County director last night in Cullowhee, and she's been on the job 2 months.
Part of the reason that we have lost those election professionals is because the level of harassment and threats really rose after the 2020 and during the 2020 election.
But that concerns you, and what do we need to do about it?
They're getting exceptional training, but nothing substitutes for experience.
You're both confident that we have a really good system here.
Yeah, we do, but technology is changing so rapidly and so dramatically, and our population in this state is increasing dramatically, and so we have to keep pace. Both from a cybersecurity standpoint, from a resources standpoint.
Bob Buckley, Fox 8 News.
And the people at NC Trusted Elections hope to have more town halls set soon. When they do, you can find out about them through the Carter Center website.